So, welcome to officially the fourth conversation of the ICW for me. And this is going to be a crazy week. Lots of conversation, lots of people, lots of sharing, lots of learning, lots of pauses, silence, and everything else that comes between. And today, we officially kick off 7 days of excellent learning. And I'm very, very happy to have all of you here. Some of you joining us from Ethiopia, like Abinet is, some of you joining us from different parts of India, uh, Martha and possibly Katya from somewhere along the European space. So I love that we have diversity even in the conversations that we are going to have. So Martha is from Italy. Thank you, Martha. Uh, so lovely to have all of you here. And this is a great space to kick off the International Coaching Week. Just a quick introduction of mine. This is how we roll with the session today. Um, yes. So this is so for some of you, this could be a place where this is a repeat telecast, but bear with me for a minute. My name is Sunil Satyendra. I go by the nomenclature NimmaCoach, which basically means that I am your coach in the language that I speak, which is Kannada. I'm multilingual, like most South Indians are. We speak multiple languages, and so I've also grown up speaking multiple languages. I coach in three different languages: English, Hindi, and Kannada. English being my is at favorite space to coach, but then I can coach in my mother tongue, coach in Hindi as well. I currently hold a PCC en route to my MCC. I am in love with the coaching space. It was love at first coaching. I was an accidental coach, but I realized very early on that I'm actually a good coach. So essentially, that's the story that evolves around this place. Also, I work with poetry and coaching as a culmination of or a combination of both of them in a space where when the client says, I don't know that I don't know, that's where poetry and coaching is one of the elements that I bring into the equation, and that's how it moves. Other than that, I come from an engineering background. I love to meet new people, network. I am very passionate about volunteering for educational causes. Uh, if there is a word that really aligns with what I do, it's being passionate about everything and anything that I do. I once upon a time used to be a silent person, but now I don't stop talking. But I still value my silences. I love journaling. I do podcasting. I am a storyteller. I strongly believe in the power of possibilities. So that's the official introduction as such. I stay in Bangalore, south part of India, and this QR code, if I would love to ask you to say, just check in if you would love to connect with me on LinkedIn. I run a community of right now around 315 coaches from across the world. In every ICW, the number keeps increasing. And we do sessions where we are talking about coaching and peripherals of coaching on a weekly basis. So there are virtual sessions that are conducted on each Monday at 7 p.m. India time. So that place is open for all coaches who are anyway associated with the ICF in any manner, starting to learning on the way to renewal, anything that works for them. This is where they can bring themselves in. So if you're not part of the tribe of coaches, you can always jump in. This link, the testimonial link, isn't working, but then it's one of those places where I keep reminding myself that if I am doing a good job, which I am in many spaces, I can ask for a testimonial. And this is for me a space where I have got coached for this, and I'm bringing the same to you. Right? That is the space where I stop presenting. Other than that, there will be no other slides in the conversation. So I'm hoping all of you are still with me. If at any point you would like to add something, share something, please feel free to share. And in the meantime, welcome to Abhinay, Baswati, and Divya. Divya is joining us hopefully from the UK and also, enjoying her first cup of coffee or tea, whatever she prefers. So, welcome to all of you. Good to see you. Some of you are new, some of you are brand new. Some of you are uh, would see this introduction and maybe say, I can do a better introduction of you than you do yourself. So, welcome to this conversation. And I am curious to keep this as interactive as possible. And my first question to you all would be to ask you what got you to the session? Why did you choose to say yes to this conversation?
Sunil, for me, I think it's about further learning for the PCC credentialing.
Thank you.
I hope. Thanks.
I hope so too. I hope it helps you. Right. So, yeah, I think it is a space where we would not be diving deeper into each of these competencies. For that, you'll have to join our Monday conversations. They happen every Monday in terms of outside of the ICW week. So we are currently on our CC5 maintains presence. So we're talking about it, and every first Monday of the month we talk about the core competencies. In
Great.
case you want to look at deepening the competencies, like competency by competency, you're welcome to join
Sure.
at that. Yeah. So that being said, thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Any other voices in the room that would like to share?
May I?
Yes, Abner.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, it is my conviction in embodying the coaching core competences, and
Mhm.
also my aspiration in being a lifelong learner, and grateful for that, for this platform. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Abner. Thank you. And I think Abhinet has been a part of our community for quite some time. I think more than a year plus. So thanks, Abhinet. Thanks for sharing. And I see your passion to learn, being a lifelong learner, coming through in all of the conversations you're a part of. So why did I make this session? I think that's Namit. You wanted to share something?
Yeah, I think just to share context of why I joined the call on a Monday morning, just trying to explore coaching as a segue of what I'm already doing in my career right now. So this is just to understand a few basics, and I did attend yesterday's session as well. So Nil, thanks for putting this through on the ICW week. And my endeavor is to just listen in mostly and see what resonates the most with me. So thanks a lot.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. So wonderful. I would, keep the voices coming, keep the sharing coming whenever you feel like you're drawn to share, either on the chat or anywhere else. Thanks, Baswati. Thanks for the compliment. So why did I make this? Right. So when I was a learner coach, and then this learning continues, but then in terms of my first say 100 hours, 200 hours of learning. So the core competencies, if I have to be very honest, I didn't know what core competencies were when I did my ACC. It's only when my mentor said, I think use with this recording, you'll be able to clear with all the basic markers that have been established. Did I even first understand that there are markers, that these are the conversations that they will come up with? And beyond the markers, how does core competencies come by? What do you mean by core competencies? How does core competencies really sit in? I had not really given it too much of a thought. I was more of the executor. Somebody had asked, shared, saying, hey, these are the right kind of questions to ask. This is how you figure it out. So I did a lot of experimentation. Can this work? Can this not work? But for me, when I started my PCC journey, that's when I really sat down with these competencies and said, "Oh, there were some of these things that I have already been embodying, and it's time for me to share some of the spaces or sharing that space with somebody who's also on the journey." Because the moment I started to appreciate this, this was also a deeper love story with the core competencies. The core competencies are eight. So sometime back, even before I started to get into coaching, there were 11 core competencies. Now the same 11 core competencies, the essence of it has been consolidated into eight of them. First is the ethical. It demonstrates the ethical space or the ethical framework and the ethical segments. The second is the embody the coaching mindset. The third is in terms of the contracting or the agreement, establishing that. The fourth is maintains trust and safety. Fifth is maintains presence. Sixth is listens actively. Seventh is evoking awareness. And eight is facilitating client growth. Now, these are anchors for all of us in our coaching journey. And there are two segments. One, the ethics becomes the broad umbrella under which everything else happens. So, no ethics, no coaching. Then the other aspect comes to mindset. When you know what the coaching mindset is all about, you are there with the client, open, curious, flexible, client centered. Uh, and initially, if I had to really be honest, these words felt words. Saying what does it mean when somebody says, oh, I need to be open, I need to be curious, I need to be flexible, I need to be client centered. What does it mean? So initially, they were just English words. Right? They had not been given definitions of my own. And prior to coming into coaching, flexible, possibly I would look at something that bends and does not break. What is open could be something that is not closed. And now I started to sit with the thought process of saying, what does it mean for me to be open and not closed? And is there a space where I'm 20% open, I'm 30% open, I'm 50% open? Where am I being selectively open? Are there places where I'm selectively closed? And these were places I actually sat down with. Right? This is where your deepening of the core competencies and the understanding of the core competencies beyond passing the exam happens. And passing the exam is going to be the easiest part of the entire journey, rather than getting to a place where these competencies are part of you. They are like adding, say, salt, sugar, whatever solvent into a segment of water and just stirring it so that it settles down with you. And the water is now absorbed all the elements of whatever is being shared. And therefore, the solution is now not water, not sugar, but then it's a sugary solution or a salty solution or something else. Right? You have become one with the core competencies, and the core competencies have become one with you, such that you don't have to really go back and ask yourself, say, did I do competency 3 well? Did I do competency 4 well? The question itself does not arise. And that's when you say, okay, yes, you've gotten to that space where the core competencies are part of you. Coaching has become not just a name, not just a tag, not just a role that you have. Coaching has become part of who you are. And another thing for you to observe when I shared all the 8 core competencies, that essentially all 8 core competencies begin with a verb. It is demonstrates, it is maintains, it is listens, it is evokes, it facilitates. So all of them is a verb. And this was something that somebody told me when, another two years back. And it stopped me in my tracks when somebody said that, all 8 core competencies start with a verb. And that was when I really paused and said, oh, let me just sit with that. And that's a beautiful segment. I'd invite all of you to try it whenever you find yourself in a space of reflection, a point of sharing, saying, oh, what does it really mean for you to say, yes, you are embodying a coaching mindset? What does it mean for you to say, I'm open now? Where do you see yourself? Where are you closed? And what does it mean to be open to the identity, the culture of the individual? In possibly, I think CC4, which is about trust and safety, it simply says you're understanding, you are seeking to understand the aspects of the identity of the client, the values of the client, the emotions of the client, the worldview of the client. I just want to check in with you if you've heard some of these words, which we will be talking about today. It's called dancing with the client. Just give me a thumbs up here if you feel like you've heard this word. Dancing with the client. Yes. All right. Three, four. All right. Five, you. Fantastic. Unconditional positive regard. The second one is unconditional positive regard. Yes. Perfect. The third, a non-judgmental safe space. I think if you are in the coaching segment, you would have heard all this. Yes. All right. So what does it actually mean? Like if I'd asked you, or if somebody outside of coaching asks you, saying, "Hey, what does it mean when you say in any of your LinkedIn posts or any of your definitions that it means I am dancing with the client?" So I'm throwing the question open to all of you guys. What does it mean for you to say I'm dancing with the client? There is unconditional positive regard. You are offering a non-judgmental safe space beyond what the English definition is, beyond our understanding of coaching, because this also needs to reach the audience on the other side in saying, yes, this is what it means for us. I will pause. Okay, it's all about the client, following the client. All right. You are in service of the client and show up the way that serves him or her the best. Fantastic. Any other ideas, any other thoughts before I move ahead? All right. So all answers are right. It means that there are multiple layers and multiple levels of understanding the core competencies. So when somebody said I am doing my MCC, the first question they asked me is, do you know all the core competencies? And I said, I think I do. They asked me for all the internal ones, saying how many markers or how many sub competencies are there in CC3, CC4, CC5. And I said, no, I don't think I'll be able to give you that directly and saying, oh, what is 6.5, what is 4.3, what is 1.2. I don't think I'll be able to do that for you. But then I do understand what it means. And I'll start with dancing with the client. What does it really mean that you dance with the client? How many of you are dancers here? I am a pretty bad dancer because for me, I feel I'm a clumsy dancer because my body does not move with the sound. Because we are on the same so we are on the same segment with dancing, right? So here, why does it mean dancing with the client? Because in dancing, you are in the moment, right? You are with the beat, and you are one. You know what's the next move going to be. You also practice that space of dancing with the client. And here, it's not just you as a solo dance that is happening. It's happening with somebody else. Maybe it's a salsa, maybe it's some other space where whatever you do, there is an action and reaction segment, and that's almost instantaneous. You can't have one sound where your one hand is going like this and your other hand is somewhere halfway through. And that is what it means that you are in sync. You're maintaining that, say, for a lack of a better word, the eye contact with the client. You're going where the client is going. You're sitting with where the client is sitting, but in also not being involved with the client. Somebody else yesterday shared saying, I show up for the client, but I don't come there to make sure I help the client. So there's a difference in that, saying that make sure comes with a lot of pressure. You're dancing, you're not thinking, am I doing the right steps? You're not parallelly processing whatever is happening. And that's where it means that you're dancing with the client. right? There are two structures. What makes a good coaching conversation, or what is without which the conversation is not a coaching conversation. What makes a coaching conversation a coaching conversation? So, any answers to that? What makes a coaching conversation a coaching conversation? Or which core competency am I talking about? Okay. All right. No agenda from the coach. True. That is absolutely true. Maintaining presence. Yeah, I will answer that with an example. Unconditional positive regard, agenda less conversation, maintaining presence. All of that are true. But then a coaching conversation remains a coaching conversation without a contract or without an agreement to the conversation. What would you like to take away, or what would you like to have as a takeaway from the session begins the dance for the coaching session. So that becomes the pillar, then becomes possibly like a physical, stronger stability structure to the client. So that becomes a space where you're knowing what is going to happen. Because without a contract, you're just speaking. You're still being fully listening, you're still fully being present, you're still able to evoke awareness, you're still able to facilitate some client growth, you're still able to have a coaching mindset, you're still able to be in at ethical practice and still have trust and safety. But without a contract, we are just having a great, fantastic, fabulous conversation. That is where the contract comes in. And the contract is, and if and my MCC mentor tells me that there have been places where the conversation at an MCC level has been rejected purely because the contracting wasn't clear enough. And imagine the person who submitted that MCC recording has had approximately 2000 to 2500 hours of training and the experience. And if you put peer coaching and everything else put into it, almost like an overall encasement of 3000, 4000 hours of being in coaching. And at that level itself, or that level too, if the contracting isn't clear, then the recording is rejected. So your space is handled, or the anchoring point for coaching is essentially the contracting itself. And contracting is a hard segment, as in like we will have to establish that space of contracting. And there are two CCs that really make it. So your coaching mindset is always like, it's looked at throughout the space which you bring because it's a mindset. Ethical practice becomes the umbrella, the stick becomes the core competence, mindset segment, and you are inside that with the aspect of in that umbrella of the CC1 and CC2, you are establishing a contract that funnels down either the bigger contract of the 10 session, 15 session segment, or the smaller segment of what happens inside this session. So all of that is basically funneled down. And if that is not anchored, we're just going all over the place. It's like a kite that has no direction, or it's a cut kite is what is going to happen. And there will still be a space where the client is going to talk, the client is going to share, but then it doesn't become coaching. So CC3 and CC8 are two anchors that generally from a marker segment looks at very strongly, saying, hey, would that qualify to be a session that is looked at by the assessors to say, yes, this is a coaching competency? Because one is that you contracted. Second, there is also facilitation of the growth. There is awareness, there is action, and there is accountability. The 3 formula, right? So if there is no action, that's still fine in a coaching call. But then the question has been asked by the coach as then what would you like to do after you've become aware of XYZ in the session? So therefore, even 7 to possibly 8 gets into a space of actually closing it with actions. So these are the more um, stronger elements. If you're looking at it, say like in your body, you're looking at it as from a bone or a skeletal structure to your coaching happens through the CC3 and the CC8. But CC4, 5, 6, 7 is the space where the dance is. And if you're doing a particular dance, both of you need to know the dance moves. Like I am doing Zumba and you are doing, say, some other this thing, or you're doing Flamingo and I am doing salsa. It just doesn't fit. So we need to know, both of us need to know at least the basics of it. Do I move my hand? Do I move my leg? X, Y, Z. That's where CC3 and CC8 comes into play. But what happens with the music once the switch is on is that you forget everything else. Right? There's also dancing with the client as something else that you forget that there is music, you forget that there is audience, you forget that there were tons and hours of practice that you put into it. You are there fully in the present. And you are in the flow, making it a space, a segment where everything moves. And here, CC3, CC8, even your AI will be able to figure out. Like base AI will going to be able to figure out CC3 and CC8. What will save you as a human coach would be the aspects of CC4, CC5, CC6, CC7. No worries, Katya. So we'll catch up on the recording. So this is typically how it goes. And when you are dancing with the client, you're basically forgetting everything else. You are encapsulated in a time capsule with the client, and everything else is moving with that. And there you are exhibiting what we say as the unconditional positive regard, saying whatever happens in the session, I am going to be in that space where I will not hold anything to my space. So my space is going to be this window, and your space is going to be your own window. And I will not allow anything that is my past, my history, my this thing, the dog barking in the distance, my neighbors fighting, me having a bad day, me having leg pain, XYZ, not to color any of my canvas. My canvas is white. And I'll also give you the same canvas when you enter. That you would like to paint, spray paint anything on your canvas, write anything on your canvas, draw anything on your canvas, and even keep your canvas the way you want it to. But then you allow that space, saying whatever comes in this session is allowed to be emergent rather than having any fixed agenda, which some of you have already said, no agenda from the client. Going with the flow, working with the client always comes first. Uh, I even after ICW, I want to invite you to sit with this, saying, hey, what does it really mean that the client always comes first? If you look at it, these are English words strewn together in a single sentence. What does it mean to say the client always comes first? Okay, is somebody coming at the 0th point? Is somebody coming at the second point? Are we now doing a running race where there's number one, number two, and number three? Is this a segment where it's competition? Do I need to come first? Is that even a question that I need to ask? Or do I allow somebody else to come first always in a coaching call? Is there a challenge for me in sitting with the client where they lead the conversation? This comes from a space where you're unlearning how to not mentor and learning how to coach, or unlearning how to say do the whole segment of what do they say, consulting. So unlearning to learning segment, the delta would be to say, okay, how do you sit with that? And it says unconditional positive regard. So is there unconditional negative regard, conditional positive regard, and unconditional positive unregardness, whatever that would be? I would love to invite you to sit with that even outside of the ICW, outside of this session, in the session as well. I'm not sure if this was exactly what you intended to figure out in this session. But then I sure hope so. This leaves you with something of interest. And this whole aspect of what is that when it really means that I am allowing the client to come first. Or is there a space wherein it's an allowance, right? Am I switching off and switching on? Is there a token system saying, I am allowing you to do it? Do I come from a space of equivalence? The unconditional positive regard is that we come from a space of equivalence. I don't have a bigger equation or a bigger energy in this, or neither does the client have a bigger energy in this. This place where the client is looked at from a more of a rather than a respectful place, client always is looked at respect from a space of this person is bigger, better, more, rich XYZ than me. And I am still, so typically when you're coaching an MCC or an PCC, if you're an ACC, right, does not mean that, oh, our skill set are different. So therefore I will be this thing, I'd rather be intimidated by the person on the other side. Even if I'm an MCC coaching an ACC, even if I'm an ACC coaching an MCC, we still have that spaces where our labels are switched off. There are no labels when we are coaching. And that's what it means to have unconditional positive regard for the client, that you do not have a negative thread, you do not color your canvas. If you can keep that segment saying you do not color your canvas, non-judgmental space. You're not also judging yourself. You're also not judging the client. You're not judging the process of coaching, and possibly you're also not judging the ICF way of coaching. Because I've heard that from multiple coaches saying ICF is like it is too difficult to maintain all of this at all points of time. So do not judge this space is getting into that. And also there's a high segment of coaches that get into the whole judging yourself as a coach. Am I doing the right thing? Should I ask the right question? And that's where it's a dance. Even if you missed one beat, you don't sit with that, because if you sit with dancing one beat, the rest of the song is gone and the rest of the dance is gone. And that's where you sit with the client. Another metaphor that I usually also bring it with the CC4 and CC8 segment is that you're actually like at the turning point of a river. Like you are able to see the river coming in, you are able to also see the river going out. You're at that place. Possibly a small tree is there behind you. You're sitting at the tree. You are noticing whatever is coming, whatever is going. But you do not have an impression, an opinion towards whatever is happening at that point. Right? So you do not keep anything on your side of the agenda. You do not keep this as a memory saying, hey, this client, no, that day he said this in response to what my question was. And you do not keep anything. So you do not hold on to any of the emotions that either you have or the client expresses to you and through the coaching segment to the space that we hold. And oh, another thing, saying hold the space for the client. I think all of you have heard that. So what does it really mean to hold space? It doesn't mean like holding on to something. And we also say, oh, you don't have to hold on to something, you have to let go, you have to let everything be. So, how can these two, saying holding space and letting things happen, exist in sync? So, these are questions I'd love for you to reflect on in terms of how it happens. I hope this is interesting so far. Any questions, any feedback, or any opinions that you have, please feel free to share in terms of is this moving in the direction that you want to work with. Yes, I see Abnet with a thumbs up. It is yes. So now with pausing, what core competencies came into equation? So another interesting thing for especially for learner coaches is how beautifully do you pause? Is pausing something that you actively do? Is pausing something that actively happens? Or is passive stance is something that is just is, right? It's not come with any effort in your coaching. It's effortless pausing, effortless silence, effortless ease. You're not trying to do things because somebody as your coach, mentor, trainer, peer coach has said, "Oh, I think you should do silence in the coaching. I think you should check in with the client saying, hey, where are we doing? What are we doing?" It's not typically mid segment marker. So I have been speaking for 40 minutes and I've been checking in with saying, hey, are we on the right page? So this is one of the methods in which you are also maintaining presence, also listening actively to what is also being said in what is also being unsaid. It's a segue to a session today evening at 7 o'clock. I think you should attend this session if you want to challenge yourself in terms of what does it really mean to actively listen. There are some of you who listen to that. Govind has been part of that session. So another thing that people wanted to share with me in my journey as a coach was the difference between listens actively and active listening. Anybody want to take a shot at what is the difference between listens actively and active listening? By the way, all answers are right. This is a uh, space where all answers will bloom anyways. It will emerge. And if you're not able to answer right now for the need to reflect, please feel free to reflect, share it with me a little later. If it works for you, the vocabulary can be in terms of words, it can be in terms of an audio message. You can share that in whatever way it works. All right. So, in terms of one more aspect that I wanted to sort of work with, how do you know that you're present with the client? So, the presence of yours is 100%. How do you know that you are fully 100% with the client? Because it says, yes, maintain presence. It says quite a lot of other things in terms of being open to the metaphors that the client is using, active listening, maintaining presence, and say trust and safety, client, and possibly listens actively. It's almost a package. It's like you can't pull out active listening, and without active listening, the others will exist. Right? Perfect, Juna. Yeah. You're comfortable, you're not in a hurry, you're optimistic. Very interesting that you say optimistic because uh, you cannot be a pessimistic coach. I think if you're a pessimist, if at some point pessimism is entering into your coaching radar, I think that's a perfect time to get into mentoring and also say supervision and also say maybe work it out as a peer coaching segment. So this is also continuous improvement of yourself as a coach. And this comes with coaching mindset. So CC2 is what it really comes back into. And don't worry if the CCs are too confusing. Whatever you're currently embodying already encompasses all of that in terms of uh, going along with the space of the paraphrasing, sharing. Everything is part of active listening, being present, making sure that your body language is also visible to the client, and you are here, so you're not going ahead like this, you're not relaxed somewhere else like this, so you're in a space of neutrality. Your eye contact is generally maintained, so there are multiple segments that uh, does come into place. I'm just reading the chat. If you allow your emotions to affect your presence, then a certain degree of pessimism can seep in. What are my thoughts? Interesting. Uh, yes. Right. So if you have to look at it, the emotions are basically triggered by a stimuli that has happened with what the client has said. or the client has not said but you have observed, that has triggered a parallel mechanism in your head. And the parallel mechanism has triggered the emotions and the feelings, and that's where your presence is gone. So this is like, you are in a silent room, for example, and your dog is scratching the door, saying, come on in, or like give me something, or it's that. So your presence is affected by that because you're not in 100% silence. For a lack of a better example, this is the thing that is emerging right now. So your pessimism is a reflection at some point of some of your beliefs, ecosystems, worldviews, and in a way, ideally, it should be not happening, as in, like, it's better that it doesn't happen. But if you feel at some point with a particular client in a particular space, it is happening, it is a space to allow it to, um, be taken to mentoring, be taken to, say, peer coaching or, say, supervision. So it can happen, and it would at some point of time or a period of time trigger something. Trigger not just pessimism, trigger any emotion as such. But then as quickly as it comes, it has to go. And that's where the river examples, river metaphor is very easy. And you do not hold on toward the river. You don't hold on to the river at all. You allow the river to come, the river to go. So even in your emotions, you allow the river to come, you allow the river to go. You don't sit with it. Oh, absolutely. Working with yourself is one of the strongest elements of understanding. Work with your biases, work with your blind spots, figure out your blind spots, and then, generally build on those. So that's, again, continuous learning, CC2 to, come into the entire aspects of what the umbrella of core competencies bring about. I will also just answer the question that has been posed by Abinet. So when you are too optimistic with the client, um, there's a difference between being optimistic and having positive regard. So here it is also a space of neutral segment. So you're not trying to shape the conversation in any way, saying, "Oh yes, this session is going to be excellent." So you're coming with your own expectations about the session, your own expectation about the client. And somewhere there is always disappointment waiting around the corner. And sometimes it could be that client meets your expectation, you meet your own expectation, the session meets its expectations. So the optimism is part of what we call as the expectation matrix. So at that point, if you're zero at the expectation matrix, that's when you are coming with unconditional positive regard. If you're too optimistic, that's when you get into the space of jumping towards the river and saying, yes, I will make sure that the person in the river learns swimming, XYZ, and your your ego as a coach at some point also makes an appearance there, saying, yes, I'm very optimistic, I'm a fantastic coach, this will be great. The client is coming in with this, it will be a one session, two session thing. And it will drag on, possibly because you're optimistic, it's not working the way it is supposed to go in a general formula segment. You are ending up getting more frustrated, which means your space of safety and trust is also being uh, looked at. And because I said trust and safety, do you trust yourself in the coaching session? Do you feel safe in the coaching session? Do you also bring that aspect of the client feeling trust in the coaching session? Both of you trusting coaching. All of that is part of the trust and safety space. Whatever is said, the unsaid, trust and safety begins right from how you show up on your LinkedIn profile, your Instagram profile, XYZ. So what you show off on Instagram, what you show off on LinkedIn, what you share on that spaces, if that's not who you are when I meet you in person, when I meet you virtually, it's your trust and safety is blown to smithereens. Nowhere does trust and safety continue to exist if that is not established. And that's where it's very important for us as coaches to show up authentically, to be vulnerable, to be open, to learn, to share, to build each other up in a space where all of us are looking for trust and safety in that ecosystem. A few more thoughts in terms of what does it mean to be curious? So are we being curious for ourselves? Are we being curious for the client? Are we allowing the client to be curious about their own thoughts, their own emotions, their own spaces, their own identities, their own behavioral segments? So is that happening? That's in a way also a space of being curious. And also you will have to observe their body language in terms of what is happening, the way they intonate certain things, the way they share certain ideas, metaphors, imageries, stories that bring about. And this is where your presence is absolutely important, that you are able to catch on to what the metaphor is being shared by the client, what is being expressed by the client, what feelings the client is sharing. And therefore, you become a space where you're active. Like it's like in cricket, as a fielder, you're almost always expecting the ball to come near you. And just because didn't come near you, you don't switch off. You still stay with whatever's happening. So you're fully switched on to everything that's happening outside. It's also the same with any sport as such. So you're undergoing everything as is, and you're seeing, sensing, processing it, everything at the same space. Right. So with regards to CC4, which is trust and safety, CC5, which is listens actively, CC6, which is CC5 maintains presence, CC6 listens actively, CC7 evokes awareness, and CC8, which is facilitates client growth, and CC3, which is the agreements part. All of this combined together to form the equation of the dance, done on the dance floor of ethical mindset, done with the understanding of the ethical practice, and that as the unsaid rhythm of what brings coaching together. So this was what I had to share. All of this emerged in the coaching session, and none of it was written down and said, "Oh, this is what we need to talk about." And this is also a space where you're safe with the unknown unknowns. You're comfortable with the unknown unknowns. And you don't come with the mindset saying this is exactly what needs to be done. This is exactly how it needs to work out. Yes. So that's where I would love to pause for today. And in this session, we have another 7 minutes. If you have questions, if you would like to share what your learning is, do a little bit of aspects of what are you learning about yourself, what are you learning about coaching as such. So CC 8.1 and 8.2 and 8.3, and possibly what did you learn today that you can apply anywhere else, and what's holding you back, what are challenges that you would like to encounter in embodying the dancing with the client. And would there be accountability structures? Would there be support structures that you would need? How do you acknowledge yourself for the learnings that you've had on this session? And if there is anything else in the 7 minutes that we have that you would like to share, please feel share. Otherwise, we would love to close the session. So yeah, I did a demonstration of CC8. So that's that. What do you guys? Anything that you would love to share? Anything that you would love to ask? Uh, Feel free to share that. So this is the most boring session we've ever been to. I'm happy to listen to that as well. So just reiterating on the space where you can find me on LinkedIn, uh, give me a connection request if that's not already done. If you're not part of TOC yet, jump on board TOC and meet us every Monday. You will be getting bored of seeing me on a Monday again and again, but you are free to jump in. And the give us a testimonial part, open to share testimonials. Go to LinkedIn, click on my profile, ask for a give a recommendation. I've been too lazy to go and change the slide. So, uh, but otherwise, this is where I do ask for your testimonials and see where this goes. Right. So, anything that you would like to ask, share, take it from here. So, Juna, you have a question. Hmm. What is mentor coaching? How does one become a mentor coach? So, mentor coaching is something that is excellently put in. So, your coach trainer trains you how to get your, say, like from a car driving segment learns helps you learn that this is a car, this is how you get into the car, this is how you do the ignition, this is accelerator, brake, clutch, this is a gear, these are two mirrors, this is what you need to look at, these are core competencies. Brake when somebody is in front of you, accelerate if you see a road that is open, and look at your mirrors when you are taking a right turn and you're taking a left turn. This is an indicator, this is a right indicator, left indicator, this is the fuel gauge. So this is all what happens with regards to what somebody does when they become a coach trainer or you are undergoing coach training. Um, in terms of the space of mentoring, you already learned it, but then you have these conversations saying, "Am I doing right? When do I break? How much do I break? What do I do when it's a tight spot? How do I maneuver?" Right? That's where you go to a mentor, ask for sharing, saying, "Hey, how did you do it? Am I doing it the right way? Can you share what others do that you got from your experience?" So that's how mentoring happens. Supervision is when I am driving a car, I am having all of these thoughts and I'm having a space where I don't think I'm good enough as a driver. I'm always scared of whatever is going to happen. That's where you take it to supervision. It's not a skill problem that's getting refined. It's a mindset problem that needs to be sat with. That's when you go to supervision. Right now, as in today, if you look at it, if you hold a current PCC, you can officially start mentoring. Or if you had an ACC under renewal, you can start mentoring. And if you do an MCC, you can mentor those on the MCC path, those on the PCC path, those on the ACC path. If you hold a PCC, you can mentor those on the ACC path, those on the PCC path, those on the ACC renewal. Right? So if you're on the ACC and you've done one renewal, then you can continue to only mentor those that are ACC. So this is my understanding. In the next 6 months to the 1 year, the idea of the mentor coach is going to be completely shifted by the ICF to have another course that is going to come called as a mentor coaching qualification. After that, once you are having that credential, like your ACC, you will also have a mentor coaching, or a PCC, you have a mentor coaching credential. And then you are the only ones officially allowed for ICF mentoring. So that is how it is going to change. So right now, today, this is the definition of what mentor coaching is. But the mechanisms to re-look at the definition of what an ICF mentor coach is already set in motion, and we are waiting for the clarity in terms of how it will happen. So what will happen is uh, there are conversations that the assessment in a way will get changed. The mentor is only going to be officially given a mentor status if they do the MCQ. Who is doing the MCQ? How does the MCQ happen? What happens to people who are already mentoring? A lot of flux that is there. So it is being looked at, but typically right now, today's definition of mentor is like that. Tomorrow, there is subject to change. Yes, thanks, Juna. Thanks for that question. And thanks, Govind, for sharing all those links. And yeah, I'd be happy to share that there are right now 22 more sessions, out of which two are one is a pro bono mentoring session, and one is a pay as you like, getting yourself coached by me over the next whatever 6 month segment. You pay as you like and pay as you value the session. So that's that in terms of what we had to share today. So anybody else wants to unmute and share something before we close? Feel free. Otherwise, we are good to go.